Hello, Jeff Zwarenk here. Welcome back to Science Faith Connection, the segment of our show where we explore important scientific ideas and see how they relate to the truth of Christianity. Today I'm excited to be joined in studio by astronomer Dr. David Block, and we're going to be talking about what it means to be a Christian in academia. David, it's really good to have you here on the show today.
Well, it's wonderful to have flown all the way from Johannesburg
Nice.
in South Africa.
It is good. So give us a little background. Where do you work and what sort of astronomy do you do?
Very good. So I'm a professor of cosmic dust, the stuff of which you and I are made. I'm an emeritus professor at the University of the Witwatersrand, which is quite a mouthful.
It is, yes.
In Johannesburg, in South Africa. I've been there for some 35 to 40 years.
Nice, that's very good. So there's this perception that being a Christian and being in scientific academia is hard. Have you found anything about academia that has been in conflict with your Christian faith?
Not so much in conflict, but in terms of persecution. And allow me to explain. My research has twice been featured on the cover of Nature, which, as you know, is the world's most prestigious scientific journal. And the University of the Witwatersrand became very proud of the fact that I was the only scientist in Africa whose work has appeared on the cover twice. And so a couple of years went by. They used my image in Time magazine, and they were thrilled. Here's an astronomer whose research is being featured on the cover of the world's greatest journals. And then I had a surprise visit, if you like, from our Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research. So that's going right to the upper echelons, the Chancellor, and then, of course, your Vice Chancellor. And she came to visit me. And at first, Jeff, it seemed like a very innocuous, innocent type of meeting. Oh, David, we're so excited with all the cutting-edge research you're doing. And it's amazing how you're able to lead teams from Harvard and elsewhere. And, you know, the praises were flowing in. But I suspected that something might be adrift. It was just a little nudge in my spirit that something might be adrift, Jeff. And then she turned to me and looked me in the eye. I can never forget this. This was in my office. And she said to me, "But could you please shut up about God?" And I was taken and turned stone cold. Could you please shut up about God? In other words, everyone was aware, most people were aware of my Christian standing as well. And that was the knife edge coming towards me. Will you please shut up about God? And so I turned to her. And I said to her, "Could you please tell me, what's the name of your favorite book?" Mine's the Bible, but what's the name of your favorite book? Which book are you reading at the moment? Oh, she said, alongside my bedside is The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. And so we left parting that day in a sort of a muted kind of state. I would not shut up and never have about God. And she was intent on promoting atheism by means, or scientism, by means of the God delusion. So that was a very personal encounter, showing me where the hierarchy sort of stood with regard to this crazy astronomer, crazy in the sense that he's a scientist and a creative scientist, but who's professing a faith not only in God, but as a Jew in Jesus of Nazareth. I mean, it's too much. She was Jewish, as I recall. It's just too much for the academic mind to often process, Jeff.
So it does, I mean, your story kind of mirrors kind of the popular narrative that science is antagonistic towards the Christian faith. You know, in this sense, it seems like you've encountered people who are very much antagonistic.
I mean, I have, you know, and also in Cape Town, we have some large observatories in the Cape, and I've sensed I don't need to spend more than 10 seconds with a person, and I can sense animosity. I'll never forget, many years ago, as a young astronomer, my dream was to become a member of one of the American associations. And I think it was the International Astronomical Union, in fact.
Okay.
And I tried through the normal South African channels to become a member of the IAU. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. There was something more, because I had all the academic publications,
Right.
but there was something more. They detested my Christianity, Jeff.
Interesting.
They could not tolerate it. They wouldn't say it on paper, but suddenly there were letters appearing in my mailbox. No, we cannot promote you as a member of the IAU, even though I was elected a fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society at the age of 19. And so eventually I said, blow this. And I appealed to Vera Rubin, one of America's greatest astronomers, as you know, and she proposed me as a member of the IAU, again showing you the kind of opposition, if not right in your face, indirectly, with regard to being a creative astronomer and scientist, but refusing to shut up about Jesus.
So it sounds like you've encountered people who are very much antagonistic
Yes.
toward your faith. You've encountered people who, as you do good science, say, hey, yeah, this person ought to get promoted. Yeah, it's very representative of how some people have been upset that I'm a Christian. Other people have like, hey, that's great, keep doing good science. Do you find anything about studying science itself that is antagonistic towards your Christian faith?
Oh, no. There I see the greatest harmony. I mean, my book with Ken Freeman, God and Galileo. The more I study the wonders of the cosmos, Jeff, the more I'm enthralled with the Creator and his mind and his mindset and his enthusiasm in theos, in God. The latest images from the James Webb Space Telescope, I stand in awe and wonder at their latest discoveries. I've never discovered anything with regard to science which says, now, Dave, you're on the wrong track spiritually. I've always seen the greatest harmony. But I want to say this, Jeff, is that science per se doesn't lead me into a deeper walk with God, in the sense that science per se leads me to understand the heavens declare the glory of God, and so on and so on. And so on. But it's His Spirit which I need in my heart to really comfort me, to be with me. As a Jew, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So the heavens proclaim the glory of God, but I've always said I see two books, dual revelation, the book of astronomy and the book of nature, and then the book of Scripture.
I wholeheartedly concur with what you're saying.
Yes.
I found that studying science is just like, oh, God is so much bigger,
Yes,
more majestic,
exactly,
more awesome.
exactly.
If you could, just in our closing minutes here, what is one particular discovery, or is there something scientific that's like, oh, that is just the one thing that really reminds you, hey, God is who He says He is?
In Isaiah, I love that question. In Isaiah 42, God said, I will give you the treasures of darkness. I will give you the treasures of darkness. And I'll never forget working at the Mauna Kea observatories. And we were using some of the early NICMOS arrays. And they were just these infrared arrays. And suddenly on the screens appeared cosmic dust. And I was just excited beyond measure, because I know that if I pinch myself, I'm feeling the stuff I'm made of, the stuff cooked in the veritable interiors of stars. And when I saw that image, I thought to myself, this is it. It's a promise. It's a result of what God had said to me. I will give you the treasures of darkness. And in closing, isn't it wonderful that He guides your research, Jeff, and He guides my research? He's not only interested in us as spiritual beings, but He's intimately involved in the daily walks we undertake at our research desks.
I couldn't agree more, and I really do appreciate your comments, David.
Thank you.
It is the case. A lot of people think studying science is antagonistic towards the Christian faith. And as David said, you're going to encounter people who do not like the fact that you're a Christian, but nothing about science itself is antagonistic towards Christianity. You know, if you found what David's had to say, I just love the passion and excitement he has in studying science and revealing who the Creator is. Go to reasons.org and look for David Block's webpage there, David Block. Search that. You'll get some great resources that help you see how this man has studied the creation and found great evidence that God is who he says he is.